A young woman was living an ordinary life. She had dreams, routines, friends, and a family who loved her. Nothing about that day seemed unusual. In fact, if you had seen her that morning, you would have thought it was just another normal day. But what nobody knew was that within a few hours, she would vanish without a trace, leaving behind only one chilling clue: a final phone call. Welcome back to CaseVanta, where we explore mysterious disappearances, unsolved cases, and the stories that continue to haunt people long after they happen. Today's story is about a woman whose final phone call became the center of a mystery that remains unanswered. A call so ordinary on the surface, yet so disturbing when investigators listened to it again and again. Because whatever happened after that conversation changed everything forever. The day began like any other. She woke up early, got ready, and left home. Family members later told investigators that she seemed completely normal. There were no arguments, no signs of stress, and no indication that she was planning to go anywhere unusual. She simply left home and continued with her daily routine. Throughout the morning, she exchanged a few messages with friends and coworkers. Everything appeared perfectly normal. Witnesses reported seeing her smiling and behaving as she always did. Nothing suggested that this would be the last day anyone would see her. As the afternoon approached, she received a phone call. At first, investigators didn't think much about it. People receive calls every day. Most are completely harmless. But this call would eventually become the most important piece of evidence in the entire case. The conversation lasted only a few minutes. According to records, she sounded calm and relaxed. There was no indication of fear or concern in her voice. The person on the other end later claimed that the discussion was routine. They talked about ordinary things. Nothing stood out as suspicious. When the call ended, she reportedly said she would be heading somewhere nearby and would check in later. That check-in never happened. Hours passed. As evening arrived, family members began trying to contact her. At first, nobody was worried. Sometimes people get busy. Sometimes phones die. Sometimes plans change unexpectedly. But as the night continued, concern slowly turned into fear. Calls went unanswered. Messages were never opened. Friends had no idea where she was. By the next morning, panic had begun to spread. Her family contacted authorities and reported her missing. Police immediately started looking into her recent activities. They interviewed friends, co-workers, and relatives. They checked surveillance footage, phone records, and financial transactions. What they discovered only deepened the mystery. There was no evidence that she intended to disappear. Her bank accounts remained untouched. Personal belongings were left behind. Future plans had already been made. Nothing suggested she wanted to start a new life or walk away from everything she knew. In fact, every clue pointed in the opposite direction. She fully expected to return home. Investigators soon focused on the final phone call. Who had called her? What had really been discussed? And why was that conversation the last confirmed contact anyone ever had with her? The individual involved cooperated with investigators and answered questions. Their story remained consistent. According to them, there was nothing unusual about the call. Yet detectives couldn't ignore the timing. Minutes after the conversation ended, she seemed to disappear from the world. Surveillance cameras provided only limited answers. One camera appeared to capture her walking alone. Another showed a figure matching her description, moving through an area not far from where she was expected to be. Then the trail stopped completely. No further confirmed sightings. No reliable witnesses. No explanation. It was as though she had simply vanished into thin air. As news of the disappearance spread, volunteers joined search efforts. Fields were searched. Roads were examined. Nearby buildings were inspected. Teams spent countless hours looking for any clue that might reveal what happened. Nothing was found. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Still no answers. The mystery surrounding the final phone call only continued to grow. Some investigators believed the call was completely innocent and unrelated to the disappearance. Others wondered if something important had been overlooked. Was there a hidden meaning in the conversation? Had someone arranged to meet her afterward? Was there information that the public never learned? The uncertainty fueled endless speculation. People began creating theories. Some believed she was abducted shortly after the call ended. Others suspected she encountered someone she trusted. A few wondered whether she had stumbled into a dangerous situation completely by accident. Without evidence, every possibility remained open. One of the most frustrating aspects of the case was the lack of physical clues. Most disappearances leave something behind. A vehicle, a personal item, a witness statement, a piece of surveillance footage. In this case, there was almost nothing. Investigators described the situation as incredibly unusual. The absence of evidence became one of the greatest challenges. Years later, people still discuss the mystery. Online communities continue analyzing every available detail. True crime researchers revisit the timeline repeatedly. The final phone call remains at the center of nearly every discussion. Some listeners who reviewed descriptions of the conversation noticed small details they found strange. Others argued those details meant nothing at all. The debate continues to this day. One question remains impossible to ignore. What happened after she hung up the phone? That single moment represents the dividing line between the known and the unknown. Everything before the call can be explained. Everything after it becomes a mystery. Imagine finishing a routine conversation and continuing with your day, unaware that nobody would ever hear from you again. Imagine loved ones replaying that final interaction over and over, searching for clues hidden in ordinary words. Imagine investigators spending years trying to determine whether the answer was right there in front of them all along. Cases like this remind us how quickly life can change. One moment, everything appears normal. The next moment, someone is gone. No warning. No explanation. No answers. The woman at the center of this story remains missing, and for those who care about her, the passage of time has not erased the questions. Every unanswered phone call, every birthday, every holiday, every passing year serves as a reminder that the mystery is still unresolved. Somewhere, the truth exists. Someone may know what happened. Someone may have seen something important. Someone may hold the missing piece that finally explains why a normal day ended in such a disturbing mystery. Until that day comes, the final phone call remains frozen in time. A brief conversation, a few ordinary words, and then a disappearance that continues to haunt everyone connected to the case. What do you think happened after that last phone call? Was it a random tragedy, a planned crime, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mystery and want to hear more chilling true crime stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to CaseVanta, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new case. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most terrifying mysteries begin with something that seems completely ordinary.